Yeah. Looks like I'm gonna have to color correct the, my other camera again. Because it makes me look so pale. It makes me look dead. Like, not in like a sweet, hot vampire way, but in like a sickly Victorian child kind of way. It's not great. Ah, that did not work. Ah, my glasses are dirty. My glasses are always dirty. I can't wait to get new glasses. I'm probably going to get very similar frames because I love my Ray-Bans. I've been wearing Ray-Bans for 10, 20 years now. I've been wearing these for a long time. This style for a really long time, but I don't think I wore Ray-Bans. But pretty much I've been wearing this style of glasses since I was in high school. Side part, Ray-Bans. I have picked out my style, and that's what I'm going with. Ooh, we need our book, which is right here. Drop my ears. I am a hot mess tonight. And I'm sorry if I sound sniffly. It's not my fault. It's the frickin' tree pollen that is everywhere. I even took an allergy. I take an allergy pill every night. My therapist and I were talking and laughing about the fact that, like, hang on. I'm gonna try and fix the color on the video. My therapist and I were talking about... There we go. It's a little bit better. Makes me look less pale. And I was talking about how Tiny Mando, is my little accountability partner for remembering to take my medicine. She is very... She is, what's the right word? She is very, she's very conscientious about taking her allergy medicine every night. In like a weird, yeah, no, not organized, but she's on the spectrum, right? And so, like, she's very much, like, it's part of her routine to take her allergy medicine. And if you try and change that, good luck to you, because it's never gonna go well. She doesn't get her allergy medicine at night, she will throw a tizzy about it. Because, like, sometimes we'll run out of the allergy medicine, like, I won't realize the bottle's getting empty. Or, like, I just didn't get to the store that day to get more Zyrtec. But yeah, if she loses she doesn't get her allergy medicine, she's quite upset. But now, I've started, like, I don't understand. Now she's kind of like, she knows that I need to take my medicine as well. Because I take out my allergy pill with her at night. Because I've been taking my allergy pill pretty consistently. I'm quite proud. Behind the countertops. Behind the countertops? I still don't understand. So she knows I need to take my allergy pills, so she'll be like, "Mommy, time for medicine." And I like told my therapist that I felt like a bad mom because my kid has to remind me to take my medicine. And he said, "No, she's not reminding you to take your medicine. She wants to take her medicine, and she knows that you need to take yours too. It's not... No. That's not one I take at night. I couldn't take that one at night." Oh, I know what you're talking about. No. Not an amphetamine. I thought you meant my ADHD medicine. Not the amphetamines. It's just Zyrtec, regular plain old Zyrtec. And so she and I both take a Zyrtec at night, and then I've also started taking my bipolar meds at nighttime. So that I don't forget. Since I'm already taking my allergy pill, I take my bipolar medication with my allergy pill, and then I don't forget. Because that lasts for 24 hours, so I don't have to worry about it. Like, I wish I could take my ADHD medicine at night, but that would be very ineffective since I don't need to focus when I'm asleep. So yeah, I don't. Thank you. I haven't really recently lost any weight, but like over the course of 2 years, I've lost 95 pounds. Uh, Thank you. So funny story. One of my fellow Mandos thought I had developed some sort of terrible disease, because I had lost. Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, so since I've been taking Wegovy since March of 2024. So I've been on it for 2 years, and I lost 95 pounds in 2 years. And I've put several of my autoimmune disorders into remission. Which is the big reason why, yeah, I'm at a goal weight, but like, I'm not gonna quit because that would mean that the autoimmune disorders would come back, and I really don't want that to happen. I quite enjoy living a much more full life. So, like, I have hair. Like, that's kind of nice. My hair stopped falling out in droves because of my thyroid issues. I can actually grow fingernails now. My PCOS is gone. It's just, every time someone is like, you cheated. To lose weight, maybe, but I've tried every diet under the sun, every exercise program under the sun, and my weight never moved. So next year you bring me tacos of flan. Oh, I love flan. Ooh, flan is so good. I think the first time I had flan was an Egyptian coworker of mine made me Egyptian flan, and I really fell in love with it. But I love flan. Flan is delicious. People are always surprised when I've tried foods from all over the world, because I'm literally the person. Coloring hair and getting implants is cheating. I will admit that I have started using a gloss conditioner on my hair, because I have located some white hairs that I'm not ready to admit that I have. So I've started. I mean, my hair is mostly the same color, but I've identified some blonde hairs, and so I started using a gloss, which is just a color depositing shampoo, not a shampoo, conditioner, which will basically just color the white hairs, and leave my color autumn court. Autumn court? I don't know what that means. Is that a reference to the ACOTAR thing? I've never read ACOTAR. Like, I tried, and I got through the first chapter, and I thought the whole thing was boring. They're only pale blonde. There you go! I mean, exactly. So, okay, I'm not familiar with. I mean, I know of ACOTAR, but I've never read it. Because I tried and I hated the first, like, I thought the first chapter was so incredibly boring. And usually I'm the person that will go through a boring first chapter. No, you're not a bad guy. I mean, unless you're getting, like, roid rage and, like, punching people in the face for no apparent reason. That would be bad. That would make you a bad guy. But you are very, not seem very nice. You are very nice, and so that means, no. You acted as my scary dog privilege as I'm wandering around in the sexiest Padme dress known to man. I think the only one that might be a little worse is the white outfit from the end of Attack of the Clones. That's, all like ripped up and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, I 95 pounds in 2 years. It's been kind of nice. I sound really nasally, and it's driving me nuts because, like, my nose is still like, I sound super nasally, and I cannot, like, if I lay down, I can't breathe out of my nose. I have to get dental work tomorrow, and I'm super not stoked about it because I'm going to be laying down. It means I'm not going to be able to breathe for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Ugh. It's no good. No bueno. Thought it was just, oh. No, Iron Man, it is not the default redhead noise. Yeah, I'm gonna be waterboarded. Well, I have the same problem. Like, if I go and get like a quick little, usually like once a year when my stress level gets to like an exorbitantly high rate and I can no longer turn my head, I go and get like a 30-minute massage. But every time I go to like get a massage, I cannot breathe. Cause like laying down on the table and my nose just like blocks up. And then as soon as I get to flip onto my back, I'm like, oh, I can breathe again. That's funny, Iron Man. All right. So, if is anybody new here? Is anybody not aware of what we do on lives? I don't know if there's anybody new. Omni, you're here. Ooh, where's Luna and Silver? Luna. Silver. Oh, okay. So, define new. Oh, there you are, Luna. Yeah, no, I need to finish my armor first. That's the main priority. And then finish the Padme Meadow, like, finish redoing the Padme Meadow dress. I need to do that. Those are the two next goals. As far as costuming goes, I need to finish those. But anyway, if you guys are new here, hi, I'm Mando Mom. If you follow me, I have a lot of random stuff on my channel. And when I say random, it means like whatever popped in my head for the day, that's the video you're getting. Some days it's Star Wars, some days it's ADHD, some days it's gardening, some days it's very random. Like I am not a specific type of content creator. I make whatever pops into my head for the day. I have ADHD and that's just the way I roll with it. So, woo. You literally describe ADHD. Yes! I am just one big giant ball of ADHD. My main my main thing is Star Wars. I do a lot of Star Wars content. It's been kind of laid back as far as Star Wars content because there hasn't been like new shows or anything to really discuss about. I am super stoked for The Mandalorian and Grogu coming out. I am super stoked for the Maul show. And her favorite group is ADHD. Yes, that is true. So yeah, mostly I do a lot of Star Wars content. But yeah, I'm like I said, whatever pops into my head for the day, that's what you're getting. I'm also a Star Wars cosplayer. I'm part of the 501st, and I'm currently working on a Rebel Legion costume. I just debuted my Padme fireside dress, which is the black corset with the lacy skirt. And I also do Mandalorian costuming. I keep having to redo my armor though. You're bisexual. I mean, I also like Star Trek. I also like Doctor Who, Lord of the Rings. I like Harry Potter. I do not consume any new Harry Potter media. I stick with the books that I bought when I was in 5th and 6th grade, and that's the end of it. Because I am not okay with J.K. Rowling and her opinions on my brothers and sisters, as humans. So, I'll put that out there, but I do still like Harry Potter. I am a Disney nerd. I am a Disney adult. I will admit it. I am a Disney adult. I was a Disney kid and now I'm a Disney adult and yeah. So, that's me. But Supreme Chancellor. But when we go live, usually Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, or really whatever days I feel like going live. Some days I'm just not feeling it. And like last week, I had lost my voice completely from a cold mixed with allergies. So yeah, I had no voice. I sounded like this. It was terrible. So, I read Star Wars books on TikTok Live and also the Tube and also the Purple app. I do occasionally stream gaming on the Purple app with a couple of my friends. Hopefully we were going to try and get together tonight and play Phasmophobia, but that did not happen because Terry is hanging out with his children. Ugh, I know. So we are currently working our way through Mall Lockdown. I am working on the Legends timeline, which we started with Darth Plagueis, and well, the next book is Queen's Peril. You just want me to read the books you just got me. I'm probably going to read those offline first, because they are way farther down the timeline, and I really want to read Queen's Peril. So, we're going through the Legends timeline. Occasionally we take little detours, again, because I have ADHD, and it's my stream, and I can do what I want. So we have a couple of the other books behind me. I don't know if you can see them because it's dark. But we started with Darth Plagueis, then we read the most boring Star Wars book ever written, which is Cloak of Deception. And then we took some detours. We read Rise of the Red Blade, which is modern canon about a Padawan that went to the dark side and became an Inquisitor. The Living Force, which takes place before the Phantom Menace, that's about the Jedi Council goes on like a mini vacation. It's kind of weird, but it was really, really good. And I met the author at GalaxyCon last year. What else did we do? I'm trying to think what else we did. As far as, I don't think we broke any other ways. Oh, and we read Death Troopers every October. But yeah, so Mall Lockdown is the next book in the series, and then even though it's technically not Legends, the next book is going to be Queen's Peril, because I obviously love Padme. Actually, I wouldn't say that I love Padme so much as I love Padme's wardrobe, and I like Padme's husband. Would probably be a fairer assessment. I like Padme in the Clone Wars. I'm not as big of a fan of Padme in the movies, apart from her wardrobe. No hate to Natalie Portman, but I always felt that her affectation in the movies was a little flat. Just, that's my personal opinion about Natalie Portman. She's a great actress, don't get me wrong. I love Natalie Portman's acting. I just felt that her affectation in the Star Wars films was a little flat. So, Battle Handmaiden? No, we already have Battle Handmaiden Padme. Nova has a Battle Handmaiden Padme. So I try and stick with costumes that we don't have in the state of Virginia or Maryland. We do have a Meadow Dress Padme. I did not realize that Single-Hearted Time Lady, who I have followed nearly from the beginning of joining this app, who recently only became a mutual with me, I did not realize that she's in the area. And then I got to meet her on Saturday. We just like randomly discovered each other at the convention. And then she like hung out with me for a couple of hours, and it was really nice because she's one of the Padme approvers for the Rebel Legion, so she was helping me. Like, she kept going like, I'm so sorry to tell you, like, I don't think that'll pass, and I was like, I welcome it. Like, tell me everything that I need to fix. Like, give me my fix list now, so that when I go and put it into apps, I'm not like super disappointed. She was so sweet. I love her. Carissa is like, oh, I love her. Honestly, I'm gonna say that the Padme cosplayers of the Rebel Legion have been some of the nicest people in the cosplay community that I've ever met. Also, I know you guys have been following me since last year and the whole drama around that other guy in the Mandalorian Mercs who's just an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. I told him off this weekend, sort of. Not like really meanly, because I don't want to start drama. But he was being a complete and utter asshole again, and I told him, King! I told him, like, he was insistent that he was going to make me a helmet out of metal and I should commission him to do work, and there's no way in hell that I am going to commission a person who insults me, insults my children, insults my work, insults my color choices, insults my armor, insults my life. There's no way that I'm going to commission him to do work. I'm just, don't be a jerk to me and I'll buy stuff from you. So, I don't know if that makes me a jerk or not, but yeah. And then he was complaining about my paint again, and I told him where to get off. I was like, it's not the paint. There's nothing wrong with the paint. The paint is beautiful. Leave it alone. And he backed off. He only backed off about the commissioning a helmet thing until, like, somebody else yelled at him because I kept telling him, no, 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 I don't want a metal helmet. I don't want a metal helmet. It has nothing to do with him, even. If somebody else offered to make me a metal helmet, I don't want a metal helmet. Like, the weight. I don't know. Do you know who this person is? I don't think so. But yeah, he kept being, I don't want a metal helmet because a plastic helmet with the resin and all the bondoing and all that stuff, it already is heavy enough as it is, and I really don't want to add to the weight of my helmets. They're already heavy enough. I don't need more. I don't think you do, King. Wait, which king are you? Are you D&D king or are you a different king? I know too many people with the same username. Are you Clyde? Where's Clyde? Previously Finro. Yes! Yes, you do! Yes, you do! Yes, you do! Yes, you do, because you were there! You were there when he was insulting me last year. Mm-hmm. Yep. It's him. I'm sorry, I went for one day to GalaxyCon this year. I went for one day because they needed somebody to do table duty. So, but I figured it was last minute, so I figured you didn't have time to go. Also, HHN 35, you in? If you are in, then I'm gonna have to change my name. Because if you go, then everybody's name starts with an A except mine and my daughter's. Which she can go by her middle name, and so then it also begins with an A, but it's like totally not. I'm gonna have to change my name in order to go on the trip because it'll be, everybody's name starts with an A. Abby, Ashley. It's, yeah. Everybody's name begins with an A. Okay. Alright. Mall. Yeah, it'll be the A crew except me. And Mini Mando, because Mini Mando will have to go by her middle name. But she's at least got a name that starts with an A. Her middle name starts with an A. Yeah, it'll be the A crew. A crew and friends. Yeah, pretty much. Dun 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 dun. You didn't think I knew the A-Team theme song, did you? You thought because I'm not Gen X, I didn't know it, but I used to watch it on TV Land. I was obsessed with A-Team there for a while. Mm-hmm. I love the A-Team. Yeah! Knew it! I knew it! You didn't think I'd know it, but I did. Mm-hmm. Alright. Chapter 28. Submerged. Ooh, this sounds good. By the time Maul had made his way back from the factory floor to the main gallery... I want to get rid of this cough. The rest of the prison population was already on their way to lockdown. Alarms howled louder here, the clock ticking down. Holding his side where the varactyl had slashed him, he shoved his way through the foul-smelling herds of inmates, cutting a path down the corridor that led to his own cell. Stepping inside, he found a guard standing there. "Hey, Tooth," the guard said. "Welcome back." It was Smite, the young CO who had kept jamming the barrel of his blaster against Maul's spine on the way up to the warden's office. But he looked different now. There was something twitchy going on in the corners of his mouth, some twisted species of chemically enhanced depravity that Maul had not seen on the young CO's face before now. His eyes gleamed dully in the recessed lights. Maul wondered if the guard was on something. If he'd speed-jacked some glitter stim before coming here, to nerve himself up for whatever his purpose was. "They're matching you again, you know," Smite was saying, cracking his knuckles as he spoke. He shot a glance at the chrono on his wrist. "In about 2 minutes. "Then you'd better get out of my cell," Maul said. "In a rush, huh? Get someplace you need to be?" The guard sniggered and cast his eyes at the open wound on Maul's flank. Maybe you shouldn't have been tussling with that Varactol, huh? Match hasn't even started and you're already bleeding. Maul said nothing. Which reminds me, Smite added. Warden sent me up here with something special just for you. Reaching to his belt, he withdrew a pair of zip tie restraints. Nyla steel like the ones you'd seen on the Wampa. Take a seat. Maul sat on the bench and Smite slapped the zip ties around his ankles, jerking them tight to the steel post that anchored it to the floor. When he finished, he gave Maul one last wild look. What's the matter? You got nothing to crack wise about? You should be more careful about what you put into your body, Maul said. What? Spice. It will kill you if I don't do it first. Smite's face seemed to narrow with hostility. Have a good fight, he said, and stepped out as the hatch sealed behind him. Maul didn't move. The alarms outside had stopped. There was a long, anticipatory silence, and then a sudden metallic creaking sound that seemed to come from everywhere at once, as the prison itself began to process of reconfiguration. Now he would find out if Ismash had been able to accomplish what he'd asked. The zip ties would make it more difficult, but not impossible. There was nothing to do but wait. The cell lurched into motion. It turned and swung around to the right, jerked upward once again, and tumbled head to foot 180 degrees, leaving him dangling upside down by the hand grips, and the zip ties on his ankles. Other cells were moved around his. He could hear the noise of their passing. At length, his rotated back down to its original position. My throne is epic? It's not a throne, it's just a gaming chair that I got for free from my company. If we do a good job, we get points. And so I got a free chair. Maul listened for the sounds on the other side of the wall. The list of inmates had not told him what type of species Rook was. What would it be this time? A growl? A snarl? A human voice? He heard nothing. He looked at the walls around him. The cell didn't feel any smaller, but something had changed. The entire room tightening around him in some almost imperceptible way. Seconds later, the cell began to fill with water. It came spraying down from a pipe in the ceiling, an ice-cold gush of stinking gray liquid. Oh no. I do not do that. A stinking gray liquid that drenched him instantly as it clattered across the metal floor and began pulling around his feet and ankles. From where he sat, Maul looked up at the pipe with annoyance, but no real sense of surprise. Rising to his full height, he jerked on the zip ties that fastened him to the bench, already knowing that they wouldn't yield. He grabbed the bench and yanked. The steel posts weren't going anywhere either, nor had he expected him to. For the moment, this seemed to be where he was fighting from. The water had risen past his knees and was coming up to his waist. The entire ceiling seemed to be pouring down on him, and the acoustics of the room had begun to change, obliterating the echoes and leaving only a steady, discordant roar. It was happening so fast that it felt less like the water was coming down and more like he was sinking into it. He could feel the sheer weight of liquid tonnage itself pressing in around him, rising to engulf his chest and shoulders, and then creeping up higher around his neck. Tipping back his head, he exhaled and watched his breath plume out in a visible cloud. The temperature in the cell had dropped 20 degrees in 2 minutes. He felt both his hearts quickening, pumping blood to his extremities, readying himself for whatever came next. Where was Rook? Was he coming? Or had Ismash failed to hack the algorithm as he'd requested? He gave another glance at what remained of his surroundings. The cell had grown darker, as if the lights themselves had been swallowed up by the flood. Drawing in deep breaths, saturating his lungs with as much oxygen as he could, Maul plunged his head under the surface, acclimating his vision to the turbid murkiness. At first, he saw nothing. Light shone faintly from the submerged walls, hazy in the depths. He could see nothing else down here. Not yet. He burst to the surface again, as high as the restraints would allow him to rise. The water was almost above his head, leaving only a narrow, cramped layer of stale oxygen above the surface. He went down again, and when he lifted his head, the water level had risen to the ceiling. There was a centimeter or two of air at the very top. Maul sucked at it, feeling it disappear against his lips. Across the cell, he felt the low, grinding reverberation of a hatch sliding up open underwater. He pulled himself down, but saw nothing. An instant later, below the surface, something brushed against his leg. Squinting into the depths, Maul made out a pair of bulbous, glassy black eyes staring back at him. An instant later, it struck. Chapter 29. Spectators. Siddiqui was in her office, watching the live hollow of the underwater match, when her brother burst in behind her. Good, she said. You're just in time. It's starting now. Take a seat. Dacquerai didn't move. He stood over her, his pale face mottled with high splotches of red in his cheeks and forehead. In his silence, his indignation was all the more apparent. It seemed to ripple off his skin in nearly visible waves. What's wrong? But of course he already knew. He had been through all of this before. In the final weeks before Coghive 7 became fully operational, when Dacquerai had realized how much of his original design was going to have to be jettisoned in order for them to move forward, he'd become sulky and remote, withdrawing even more than thoroughly from her, disappearing for days at a time. His silence had taken on an almost palpable weight. Only by promising him absolute autonomy when it came to the algorithm and the bouts had Siddiqui been able to placate him. And now she had violated that rule as well. I can see you're upset. Siddiqui rose to her feet with a sigh. Forgive me, I know this particular match isn't what your algorithm called for. But Dacquerai, you have to trust me on this. The Zabrak is becoming a real problem for us. He needs to be broken. And this fight... He thrust a thin sheaf of flimsy-plast in her face. Siddiqui took it from him and glanced down at it. It was a printout of the algorithm's actual match, was supposed to have pitted two completely different inmates against one another. I know, Siddiqui said, but I'm telling you. Warden. Siddiqui turned and glanced at the holoscreen that had gone active above her head. Gaming Commissioner Dragomir Chloris's face glanced down at her, inflamed with fury. Commissioner, Siddiqui said, I'm beginning to think your position doesn't keep you busy enough. Siddiqui, what do you think you're doing? Matching my reigning champion, as you can see. The bout you posted indicates a completely different set of opponents. The odds that you gave on this fight have nothing to do with the Zabrak or the Aqualish, which means that you either deliberately chose to defy the Gaming Commission regulations, he paused, or you've been hacked. Hacked? Siddiqui chuckled. Commissioner, I assure you. Do you see a third explanation? Please, she glanced at Dacquerai as if he might somehow, in defiance of everything she knew about him, speak up on her behalf. If you'll just allow me to investigate. It's too late for that. You've overstepped your bounds for the last time. There was a portentous silence as Chloris summoned the full weight of his authority. The Galactic Gaming Commission is shutting you down. Aw, thank you for the follow. You heard me. Siddiqui's face didn't change, but her neck flushed red, the color rising slowly to her hairline. You really don't want to start down that road with me, Dragomir. If you're implying that I don't have the authority, Chloris said, then you're sadly mistaken. If you think I'm bluffing, then you're wrong about that too. And if I were you, I would keep all of your inmates in lockdown until this is sorted out. Now you're telling me how to run my prison. Chloris glared at her. You should be thanking me. You have far bigger problems, and you'd made the slightest effort to listen to me earlier. None of this would have reached the crisis point. I'm telling you, the Hutts haven't shown the faintest interest in... The Disilich clan has already infiltrated your prison, the commissioner said. Excuse me? According to the intelligence that I've just received, they've had their foot soldiers inside Coghive 7 for months in an ongoing effort to ferret out Radique. It's uncertain how many exactly, but the data they've come across my desk so far seems to indicate that their presence within the prison is significant. You're the gaming commissioner, Siddiqui said. How is this your business? Let's just say you need someone to watch over you, Chloris sighed. I know you tendency to get in over your head. Siddiqui allowed herself a slow, restorative breath. Excuse me. In all the years she'd been here, this was as close as Chloris had come to acknowledging the brief relationship that they had enjoyed during her early days managing the sabak tables at the Outlander Casino and Resort on Coruscant. She'd been very young at the time, new to her position, easily swayed and even seduced by his authority. What happened between them had ended badly with misgivings on both sides, but now was not the time or place to exhume that particular corpse and find out whether there was any life left in it. She forced a smile. It felt like work. Dragomir, that's very kind. Under normal circumstances, I'd be flattered, but... Stop. Just stop. Chloris paused, and when he spoke again, he sounded more concerned than she'd ever heard him. Siddiqui, I've heard all of your excuses and prevarications, but at this point, if you do know anything at all about the whereabouts of this man Radiq, I recommend that you share it with the Hutts straight away. Otherwise, you may have a mutiny on your hands that even you cannot control. Mutiny? You mean a riot? Ah, thank you for the follow! Siddiqui glanced over the shoulder at Dakarai, but her brother remained expressionless, his face maddeningly unreadable. She turned back to the holoscreen. All of our inmates carry electrostatic charges implanted in their hearts. I can terminate any of them with a touch of a button. If any of them were foot soldiers sent in here by the Hutts. Siddiqui, I'm not talking about inmates, Cloris said. I'm talking about guards. She stared at him. I beg your pardon? How many guards does Coghive 7 employ at any given time? Cloris asked. Between 70 and 80, but we screen each one carefully with a full background check and identity verification. All of which the Silik clan would have easily forged in order to get their people inside, the commissioner said. His voice was grave. Be vigilant, Siddiqui. I'll speak to you again soon. Siddiqui turned back to look at Dakarai again, but her brother was no longer looking at the commissioner. He was watching the match. You hate books? How could you hate a book? Books are great. I love books. I collect books. I have a ton of books. Books. I love books. I love physical books. I like electronic books. I like audiobooks. I love books. Books. I love all the books. I love cookbooks and fantasy books and spicy books and gardening books and sci-fi and Star Wars. I guess Star Wars was under sci-fi. Historical fiction. I mean, mostly I prefer fiction, but there have been a few books that have been nonfiction that I've enjoyed. There've been a couple, like, biographies that I've read, mostly from comedians because they make me laugh. Parenting books that I've read. I love books. Books are the best. I'm gonna try and stay on live for an hour. But those were our 2 chapters for tonight. Yay! So yeah, it's been a good time. Oh, that's good, Luna. I'm glad you got a new book. What was it about? What's your new book about? I got new books from Omni, which was very sweet of him to bring me new books. New Star Wars books, even. Mm-hmm. Which eventually we will read on Death Star, not Death Star IT. We read bedtime stories. I guess, well, I'll wait till we get a little closer to the end and then I'll order Queen's Peril. Ooh, it was so exciting this weekend. I actually got to finger through a copy of Dressing a Galaxy. Death Star Tales. Yeah, so Dressing a Galaxy, I really want that book. But I cannot justify spending the amount of money. An Elemental Masters book. That sounds cool. Dressing a Galaxy is the book done by Trisha Bigger, who was the costume designer for the prequels. She wrote a book about all of the costumes she designed for the prequels. And it was a very limited run book, and it's very, very expensive. If you find a copy. There are no mint, as far as I know, there are very few mint copies out there, and if you find a mint copy, particularly of the one that has the fabric swatches, that can be like $1,000 at minimum. But just a regular used copy is usually between $300 and $400. So, I would love to get that book, love to get my hands on that book, but I just can't justify spending that much on a book for myself. That's not a textbook. I mean, I've spent $500 for a book before. That was a textbook, though. Completely different. So, yeah. I definitely... Butcher's Masquerade. That sounds terrible. Hi, Ruben! Reading aloud from a Star Wars fantasy novel. Comment your favorite book. I don't know if I have a favorite book. I have a favorite series of books, which is The Belgariad by David Eddings. Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 5. Oh! That reminds me, I still haven't taken Dungeon Crawler Carl out of my daughter's library on Kindle. I mean, it's fine. She hasn't been using her Kindle. I found some of the Five Nights at Freddy's book at Ollie's, and so I got her like a whole collection of the Five Nights at Freddy's books. So that's nice. Yeah. But yeah, my favorite book is a series of books, which is The Belgariad by David Eddings, and then the follow-up series, like, there was a sequel series of the Belgariad series called The Malloreon. And or Malloreon. I always said Malloreon, but it could be Malloreon. I don't know. But I also always really liked, so. And then there's Polgara the Sorceress. Ugh. Words are hard. And then probably another one would be Alana the Brave, by Tamora Pierce. I always liked the Alana books, and then I liked her other series too, like Wild Magic. Was it called Wild Magic? Wild Heart. I think Wild Heart was the name of the book. And then of Harry Potter series of Unfortunate Events. I always liked those books. There's a lot of books out there that I really enjoyed reading as a kid. I wish I could read more now. Another really good series that I like is the How to Train Your Dragon series. Your favorite author is Robert Heinlein. He wrote a book that I read, I think. My brother gave it to me, and I'm trying to think of the name. He gave it to me when I was a junior in high school for Christmas. It was he gave me Stranger in a Strange Land. No. I've read Stranger in a Strange Land. Maybe that is the one he gave me. No, I think he gave me like a physical copy of Stranger in a Strange Land, but I listened to it on audiobook. Did I ever read the Underland Chronicles? No, I don't think I ever read the Underland Chronicles. I also liked who wrote it? The last name begins with a P. It's a book about the Grim Reaper. Like, a guy is about to die, and he fights the Grim Reaper and wins, and then because he beat the Grim Reaper, he is now the Grim Reaper. Oh, goodness gracious. I don't even think I have a copy of the book anymore. I think my brother took that one back. No, it wasn't Incarnations of Immortality. I know it's not that. What is the name of the book where the main character kills the Grim Reaper? Oh, On a Pale Horse! On a Pale Horse. That's the name of the book. I liked that one. That was a good one. I didn't get to read the second one, though. Yeah, On a Pale Horse. That was a really, really good one. Which is by Piers Anthony. I knew it started with a P. Um, the Incarnation series. Yeah, I don't think I ever read the rest of them though. But I really liked On a Pale Horse. Like that one was always fun. Um, and I think I had the other one, Bearing an Hour. I had like all of the books. I just never got a chance to read them. But now I'm looking at it, I was like, maybe I should add some of these other books to my next thrift books order. Bearing an Hourglass is the next one. I also like I like Stephen King a lot. I've read a couple of the Stephen King novels. Things like I've read It. Think I've pretty much read all of Nightmares and Dreamscapes, all of that anthology series, which I really enjoyed. The Xanth series. I know that series. I didn't read it, but I know that series. I've heard of that series. There's a lot of like 80s fantasy and science fiction that I've read because when my brother lived in Australia for 2 years, he let me borrow his book collection, and so I read a lot out of that book collection. Again, my favorite out of that series, the favorite out of like the big box of stuff that he gave me, of all the books that he gave me, was the Belgariad series and the Malloreon series by David Eddings, which then prompted me to buy Polgara the Sorceress from Barnes and Noble. And then I read On a Pale Horse by Piers Anthony. I started reading The Color of Magic, but I never got to finish it. I'm gonna add that one. That's my project. There's a couple Terry Brooks. The Shannara series, I never got a chance to like read the Shannara series. But I had that one. I think I have some of the Shannara series. I might have the first book. I read the Richard Knack dragon books, or at least some of them. A couple of the Dungeons and like Forgotten Realms books, Dragons of Autumn Twilight, Dragons of Winter Night. Those are the ones that I remember. I don't know. I've read a lot of books. I mean, I used to read all the time. Now I find it quite challenging to like keep the attention of a book for that long. Which is sad because I have such a I have such a big TBR list that I have shelves of books that I've never read. Because and some of it is like they're Mando Dad's books, so like Mando Dad has a whole collection of science fiction and fantasy that when we combined, see, I can't read it before sleeping unless I get one of those clip-on book lights because Mando Dad is already asleep usually when I go to bed. Yeah, what was those? What was the Knack Dragon books? Richard A. Knack. Was it Legends of the Dragon Realm? I don't think it was that one. Oh, I didn't realize he wrote a whole bunch of World of Warcraft books. Might have been Legends of the Dragon Realm. It's not Day of the Dragon. It was definitely not a Warcraft book. I just remember the dragons, like every dragon color, every dragon color had like a different power. So, like a white dragon spit, or breathed ice, and black dragons breathed acid. Red dragons were fire, obviously. It has been a minute. Hi, Tony. You missed the reading for tonight. Yeah, I think it is the Dragon Realm books by Richard Neck. Ice Dragon. That's the first one I read, was the Ice Dragon one. I am not a child of the watch, so I don't have to wear a helmet. Plus, my helmet is getting repaired. Because it was so cold when I tried to paint it, everything orange peeled, so I have to repaint the whole thing. To repaint a bunch of my armor. No, it's not. Orange peeling is not allowed. There's a lot of like weathering that you can add. But you can't you can't have orange peeling. That's against the rules. No orange peeling allowed. Not even as weathering. So I have to resand the whole dang thing because I painted it. It was ready to go. Looked gorgeous. And I went to go put the 2K clear coat on it so it would protect the paint and it wouldn't scratch. And boom! Chemical reaction because it's cold. And orange peeled so much of the paint. So that was a lot of fun. So yeah, there's no fix in that. So I have to basically resand all of the parts because excuse me. It happened to a bunch of my parts. So it happened to my shoulder bell, my helmet, my gauntlets. The gauntlets didn't look so bad. The orange peeling was on the bottom, so I wore the gauntlets this weekend. The one shoulder is fine, and my ab plate is fine, but my chest plate doesn't work. So, what is the base color? So, it's black gloss and black gloss on the bottom, covered by color shift paint, and then I hand painted all of the metallic pieces that I wanted to be a silver color, because I kept having problems that when I'd peel off the painter's tape or anything like that, if I started with the silver, what is the base color? The plastic doesn't matter. It's covered with primer and Bondo. The plastic is gray because it's the Easy Sand Cost PLA. But I primer everything before I paint it, so. I don't know. I'm progressing in my armor. Oh yeah, and then never mind. All in all, it was a good weekend this weekend. Mini Mando got to do her competition. Kicking butt and taking names. Or not her competition. This week was Bring a Friend Day, but the competition team was performing for the Bring a Friend Day, and so she was doing some more fun things. Mini Mando gets to do a lot with the competition team because she is so very dedicated to her taekwondo. Like, she practices and her movements are very solid, and I'm very proud of her and her taekwondo. So, and then being on the competition team, I did not realize that being on the competition team was going to be this much running people everywhere, but it's a lot of running people everywhere. So yeah, she's good, but and then I've decided that the next time we have one of these events where the competition team has to like perform, because the thing is, like, usually if the competition team has to perform, they don't get to eat anything until like the end of all the stuff. So like on Saturday, they had to be there Well, the leadership had to be there at 8. All of the TWC had to be there at 9. And then they were doing performance stuff until 1. And they were not really allowed to eat anything until, like, they weren't going to be fed by the dojang? I'm not sure what it is in Korean. They were not going to get fed by the dojo until 1 o'clock. So we've got kids doing a lot of physical activity for 5 hours, right? And that did not sit right with me. So one of the boys that goes to my church, his mom just dropped him off because she's got 3 kids in sports, and she's like, I don't stay for nothing unless they're actually performing. She doesn't stay. I stay, mainly because Mini Mando is 10, and it's good to have mom there. So anyway, Mini Mando and this kid, I decided that they needed. Hi, this old house. Mini Mando and this kid did not have anything to eat. They keep food after. Do they do? Yeah. But it's not even because of sickness. So it's because they usually provide pizza for these events, and they want to make sure that there's enough pizza for the guests before they feed the kids. Like, the kids have an hour to eat, but, like, if you didn't bring something, you don't. So anyway, Mini Mando and this other kid, this boy, I ran over to Jersey Mike's, which is right next to the dojo, and I got food. And then there was another girl, I think she's like 16 or 17. She was having a protein shake, but then she dropped her protein shake and it was all over the ground. And then she didn't have anything, like nothing to consume. And so I was just sitting there and I'm going, what? Well, so hang on. I'll finish telling you about the smoothie thing. It's funny you say that, Tony, because like at the end of the first hour, which means of the Bring a Friend Day, so that means that Mini Mando had been there for 2 hours. And had been practicing for the first hour and then performing for the second hour. She was grumpy. Very grumpy. She was very snippy, very grumpy. And so I told her I was going to get her food from Jersey Mike's. And she goes, I don't want any food. And I said, I'm still going to get you food from Jersey Mike's. What do you want? I don't even like Jersey Mike's. I'm like, sweetheart, you need to eat something. And so like she's being all kinds of grumpy. She's hangry. Her blood sugar is low. She needs protein. She's hangry. Okay, she just spent 2 hours of doing nonstop physical things. She needs food. I know. Can't regulate without the food. Exactly. She needed food. And so she needs protein. My children have the metabolism of a hummingbird. They have got to have protein. Sugar just goes in and out like that, and they burn it up, and their blood sugar spikes, and then it crashes. So my kids need to have, like, large amounts of protein in order to survive. Well, to stay alive, more or less. So I go and get them food, and they're eating. And wouldn't you know it, after Mini Mando had food, she was a much more pleasant person to be around. It's almost like mom knew what she was talking about. Anyway, so back to the kid with the smoothie. So this girl, she's very anxious. Like, she's very sweet, but she's very anxious. Like, everything, like, she is just always a ball of nerves. Well, she also had Gatorade. But she was, this poor girl dropped her smoothie, was all in a tizzy about her smoothie. And I just said, what do you want from Jersey Mike's? And she looked at me and she went, what? I said, what do you want from Jersey Mike's? And she said, well, I don't really eat anything. And I said, from Jersey Mike's or just at all? And she goes, well, not really at all. Which concerns me that, like, a teenage girl who does a lot of, like, physical activity says that she doesn't eat and is a constant ball of anxiety. That makes me concerned. Like, that just puts my mom radar up that there's something deeper going on. Maybe, possibly, I don't know. But, like, that gave me a red alert there. Yeah. And she's not, and let me say this, she's already skinny as a rail. She's pretty thin. And so like when I hear a teenager that is like particularly a girl that has high anxiety, yeah, it makes me nervous. But anyway, I was like, do you want turkey and cheese? Do you want ham and cheese? Do you want chicken salad? Like, what do you want? What do you want? And she goes, turkey and cheese? And I said, okay. Lettuce, tomato, mayo, onion, lettuce and mayo? Okay. And I just walked off, bought her some, plopped it back in front of her, and I was like, eat something, please. I've decided that next time there's any kind of event like this, I am just going to go to Costco and get a Costco sandwich tray, because I would feed more kids with the Costco sandwich tray for less money than it costs for me to buy 3 kids and myself Jersey Mike's. Just saying. And plus, like, some of the other kids, like one of the other kids, he didn't eat anything. He's a teenage boy. He didn't eat anything, and then he seemed kind of sad that I did not buy him a sub as well. Bring a case of Lunchables. Exactly, like, he seemed kind of sad that I did not bring him food as well. And he definitely needed food because he's leadership. So that meant he was there at 8 a.m. So he was practicing at 8 a.m. and then he was practicing at 9 a.m. and then he did the competition at 10. And then from like 11:30 to noon, when the second session started, he was practicing some more. And then they were doing the noon session. At the noon session, because he's like been doing the competition team for years, he's a black belt and everything. Oh, puzzle piece. Oh, try again. He did not do well the second time round. He missed a lot of the jumps and stuff. And I felt really bad because he was trying really hard, but he looked tired. And also he was just getting over being sick, but again, because he's leadership and he's competition and all these things. Right. So I decided that next time we have one of these days where like the kids are gonna be doing the competition stuff for a couple hours and they're not gonna get fed until 5 hours after they start, I'm just gonna bring them food. Like, I'm not gonna wait for the dojo to feed them. I'm just going to bring them food. And then we're like, 2 other kids, they were like, where's our food? And I was like, your parents are here. Like, your parents can be responsible for feeding you. I am here for the children whose parents are not here. I can't help it. Like, I just can't. And I was like, they're not even your kids and you barely know them. I don't care. They're kids who need food. I am going to feed them. Deal with it. So even Mando Dad was like, what? Why? And I was like, because they were kids and they needed food. And I feel bad and I feel like I should feed them because they need food. So yeah, just next time I'm bringing snacks, I'm bringing sandwiches. Yeah. I can't let those there's poor kids. And like the master, I don't think he understand, like I think the master just is like, well, if they want food, then they'll bring food. And they can have a snack later. I guess he's kind of hands off about it. It's not really his I guess responsibility to feed the kids, but yeah, if their parents aren't there, their parents don't give them money to like go to Jersey Mike's next door. They're or they didn't pack anything, which is a teenager is a 12 to 17-year-old really going to remember to pack their lunch on a Saturday? Probably not. And their parents may or may not give them money, or they may or may not have money themselves to go and get something. Like, there's like a Burger King that's like not that like you could walk to the Burger King. There's a Sonic that you could walk to as well. That's pretty close. But like Jersey Mike's is right next door, and those are like on the other side of the shopping center. But yeah, I I'll feed the whole neighborhood. I don't know. I just don't want to, like, those kids, I want to see them perform well. And I know that the kids won't perform well if they're hungry or they haven't had enough protein. If there's nothing in the tank, then they're just not going to be able to do it. And like I said, the one kid, the older kid, he'd been there for 5 hours. He had just been getting over being sick and he didn't have anything to eat. I probably should have bought him something to eat too. Like, I feel bad that I did not also buy him something to eat. So yeah, I've decided next time I'll just go to Costco and get one of those, like, the croissant sandwich trays that Costco does. I'll just do that. It'll be fine. It'll be great. Or I'll bring a charcuterie board or something. I don't know. Something to just, like, make the kids have something to put in their stomach so they can continue. I don't want them to eat, like, a bunch so that they get sick performing. But just, like, a little something to keep their blood sugar from crashing and keep them able to still perform. Because I recognize it is physically, it doesn't seem like Taekwondo is very physically demanding, but, like, I watched Mini Mando jump over 4 giant sparring bags. So we're talking, like, probably like 8-9 feet. I watched her jump over 9 feet of sparring bags to kick a board. I will send you the picture, King. I will send you the picture of Mini Mando jumping over. Because for competition, they do this thing where it's like the first kid goes and they do a flying side kick and they break the board. And then they get on the ground and they hunch over. And then the next kid in line jumps over the first kid and does a flying side kick into the board. And then they just keep going until there's like 6 children in a row. And then a really tall kid comes along and does a flying side kick over all 6 children that are currently on the floor. That's so fun. It is terrifying to watch as a parent because your child is having other children leap over them to kick. So that was Mini Mando didn't do that the first session, but she did it the second session because the kid that was 3rd position for the first session had to go home. So have a good and fun time, Tony. I will look forward to you when you come back. I look forward to hearing about it when you come back. But first she did, so for both performances, they do like a punching, world-class Taekwondo punching thing. And they all yell and it's a thing. And then Mini Mando did there's the basic 7. So she was doing one of the basic 7 kicks. She was axe kick. So she did that, and then she also did the flying side kick over other children. Yeah. Apparently, the one black belt that does a lot of the teaching, he's gonna have her start doing that on a regular basis, because she's apparently really good. She is very good. She is, again, she takes Taekwondo extremely seriously. And you can see it in the way that when she does her belt testing or when she does competition, she is very stone-faced. Every once in a while, you'll catch a face of her and so I'll which will make her, so, but usually she stands at perfect attention. Competition team's a little different, but especially during belt testing and during class, she does it very seriously. She takes it, her form is flawless every time. And her ability to kick is scary. She's getting to the point where she can almost get her leg parallel with her face. To axe kick and all that other kind of stuff. So she is, yeah. But I have a picture of her. I have a picture of her with her leg nearly parallel with her face. So, I'll send you pictures, King, when I get off live. You'll find them. You have your black belt though, don't you? Do you have first level, or do you have just the first level black belt, or did you keep going after you got first level? Okay. So, anyway, it is bedtime. I will see you guys on Wednesday, I think. Very good, punny. So anyway, have a good night. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Love y'all. Stay safe out there. We're gonna get through this, I promise. Same thing goes for you guys over on YouTube and Twitch. I hope you guys had fun on stream. I will see you guys on